Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when words lose their power and actions take the lead. When you step into a room, before you even speak, you have already told people who you are. The question is, what are you silently communicating? We have been told that we need to explain ourselves, prove our worth, or seek validation. But let me tell you today, your value is not in how much you say, but in how much you embody. If you want to be valued, if you want to be respected, you must master these 10 silent actions. The way you treat yourself teaches others how to treat you. This is a universal truth that often goes unnoticed. People observe how you carry yourself, how you handle challenges, and how you respond to both praise and criticism. Without saying a word, you silently communicate your level of self-worth, and the world adjusts its perception of you accordingly. Many people spend their lives seeking validation from others, believing that if they are kind, accommodating, and always available, they will be valued and respected. But this approach often leads to disappointment, because value is not assigned by others, it is recognized through the way you perceive yourself. If you fail to see your own worth, how can you expect others to acknowledge it? Imagine walking into a room with your shoulders slouched, avoiding eye contact and second-guessing your every move. What message are you sending? You are silently telling people that you lack confidence, that you do not see yourself as someone who belongs, and that you are unsure of your own value. Now imagine walking into that same room with your head held high, making eye contact and moving with certainty. Without saying a single word, you are telling the world, I am worthy of being here, and the world will believe you. Self-worth is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone, including yourself, treat you as anything less than valuable. It means setting standards for yourself, not just in how you allow others to treat you, but in how you treat yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you present yourself, and the way you prioritize yourself all play a role in shaping the respect you command. Think about how you spend your time. Do you give it away freely to people who do not appreciate it? Do you overextend yourself, saying yes when you really want to say no? Every time you allow someone to take you for granted, you are teaching them that your time is not valuable. When you over-explain your choices, apologize for things that do not require an apology, or allow people to cross your boundaries, you are silently communicating that you are willing to be undervalued. But when you treat yourself as a priority, when you respect your own time, energy, and emotions, others take note. They begin to understand that your presence is a privilege, not something to be taken lightly. They see that you do not tolerate disrespect, not because you demand it verbally, but because your actions make it clear. Think of the people you admire. They carry themselves with a quiet confidence. They do not beg for attention. They do not seek approval. They simply exist in their truth, knowing that their worth is not dependent on external validation. This is the power of self-worth. It does not need to be announced. It is felt. A person who values themselves does not chase people. They do not beg for love, friendship, or opportunities. They understand that what is meant for them will naturally align with their life because they are worthy of it. They walk away from situations that do not serve them, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. They understand that their peace is more important than forcing something that does not align with their standards. But self-worth is not just about walking away from negativity. It is also about how you invest in yourself. Are you constantly growing? Are you setting goals for yourself? Are you nourishing your mind, body, and soul? Because when you do, you are sending a silent message to the world that you are someone who is worth respecting. You are showing that you take yourself seriously, and when you do, others have no choice but to follow suit. People will always test your boundaries. They will see how much they can take before you say no. If you do not value yourself, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle of pleasing others at the cost of your own well-being. But when you truly understand your worth, you do not need to explain or defend yourself. You simply exist in a way that commands respect. The way you treat yourself sets the foundation for how others treat you. If you constantly put yourself last, do not be surprised when others do the same. If you accept less than you deserve, people will continue to offer you the bare minimum. But when you show up for yourself, when you prioritize your well-being, and when you refuse to accept anything less than what aligns with your self-respect, the world responds in kind. There is no need to demand value from others. You only need to embody it. Because the moment you truly believe in your own worth, the world will have no choice but to follow your lead. Not every situation in life requires a response. Not every challenge demands a reaction. In a world that constantly urges us to speak, explain, and defend ourselves, the ability to remain still is a rare but powerful trait. People often mistake silence for weakness, but in reality, silence is a form of wisdom, strength, and emotional control. It is the ability to observe rather than react, to think before speaking, and to choose your battles wisely. You give yourself the space to process situations with clarity. Many people react impulsively, allowing their emotions to dictate their actions, which often leads to regret. But when you master stillness, you understand that not everything requires your energy. You learn to differentiate between what deserves your response and what is simply noise. You recognize that your time and energy are valuable, and not every situation is worthy of your involvement. There is immense power in restraint. Imagine being in a conversation where someone is trying to provoke you, hoping to get a reaction. The moment you respond emotionally, you give away your power. But when you remain calm, when you refuse to engage in meaningless arguments, you demonstrate a level of control that commands respect. People expect reactions, they expect explanations. When they don't receive them, they are forced to reconsider their approach. They begin to see you as someone who cannot be easily swayed, someone who stands firm in their truth. Stillness also applies to decision-making. When you are constantly in motion, reacting to everything around you, you risk making choices based on impulse rather than wisdom. But when you cultivate the ability to pause, to sit in silence and reflect, you make decisions from a place of strength. You learn to listen to your intuition, to trust your inner voice rather than external noise. This kind of clarity is rare in a world that thrives on distractions, but it is the foundation of true confidence. There is also a deeper kind of stillness, the ability to remain unshaken in the face of adversity. Life will throw challenges at you, people will misunderstand you, test your patience, and even doubt your abilities. But when you have mastered the art of stillness, you do not crumble under pressure. You do not seek validation or rush to prove yourself. Instead, you stand firm, knowing that your worth is not determined by external circumstances, but by the way you carry yourself through them. True power is not in loudness, it is in quiet confidence. It is in knowing that you do not have to prove your strength to anyone. It is in walking away from arguments that drain your energy. It is in allowing your actions to speak louder than your words. People remember how you make them feel, and when they see that you are unshaken, that you are not desperate for approval, they cannot help but respect you. Stillness also allows you to observe. When you are not always speaking, you notice more. You pick up on unspoken cues, on the way people behave, on their true intentions. This makes you more aware, more strategic in your interactions. You begin to see through deception, to understand who truly values you and who does not. When you are always talking, you miss these details. But when you are still, you gain knowledge. And knowledge is power. Emotional independence is not about isolating yourself from people or rejecting relationships. It is about developing the ability to be fulfilled and secure in who you are without needing constant reassurance. When you rely on others for validation, you give them the power to control your emotions. If they approve of you, you feel worthy. If they ignore you, you feel invisible. This creates an unstable foundation, one that leaves you vulnerable to manipulation and disappointment. But when you cultivate emotional independence, you free yourself from this cycle. You become the source of your own happiness and self-worth. Think about how often people change their behavior just to fit in. They alter their opinions, suppress their true selves, and mold their personalities to gain acceptance. This need for validation is exhausting. And it often leads to resentment because deep down, they know they are not living authentically. But when you prioritize emotional independence, you no longer feel the need to prove yourself. You understand that the right people will value you for who you truly are, and those who do not were never meant for you in the first place. One of the greatest signs of emotional independence is the ability to enjoy your own company. Many people fear solitude because they associate it with loneliness. But there is a difference between being alone and being lonely. A person who is emotionally independent does not need constant distractions or social validation to feel complete. They find peace in their own thoughts, in their own space, and in their own journey. They do not rely on others to entertain them, uplift them, or give them a sense of purpose. They understand that fulfillment comes from within. This kind of self-sufficiency is magnetic. When you are emotionally independent, you carry an aura of confidence that draws people toward you. You do not cling to relationships out of fear of being alone, nor do you accept mistreatment just to avoid rejection. Instead, you set high standards for yourself and refuse to compromise your dignity. This makes others respect you because they see that you are not easily swayed by emotions or external pressures. People who lack emotional independence often struggle with boundaries. They allow others to dictate their happiness, making them easy to manipulate. But when you master emotional independence, you understand that your well-being is your responsibility. You do not let guilt or fear of abandonment push you into situations that do not align with your values. You set clear boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect your peace. Another key aspect of emotional independence is learning to regulate your emotions. Life will challenge you. People will disappoint you. Things will not always go your way. If you depend on external circumstances to determine your happiness, you will always be on an emotional roller coaster. But when you develop inner strength, you learn to process emotions in a healthy way. You do not suppress them, but you do not let them control you either. You acknowledge your feelings, understand them, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. This emotional stability is rare. Most people react to situations without thinking, allowing their emotions to dictate their decisions. But an emotionally independent person takes a step back, evaluates the situation logically, and responds in a way that aligns with their self-respect. This kind of composure is what separates those who are truly strong from those who are simply pretending to be. Emotional independence also means understanding that happiness is an inside job. Many people believe that once they achieve a certain goal, find the right relationship, or gain social, they will finally feel fulfilled. But happiness is not something that comes from external achievements. It is a state of mind. If you are not happy within yourself, no amount of success or validation will ever be enough. The key is to create a life that you enjoy on your own without waiting for someone else to complete it for you. When you stop seeking validation and start valuing yourself, everything changes. You no longer feel the need to chase people who do not appreciate you. You stop allowing others to dictate your worth. You become self-sufficient, confident, and at peace with who you are. And in doing so, you attract people who genuinely respect and admire you, not because you need them to, but because you have mastered the art of standing strong on your own. The world will set them for you. People will take as much as you allow, push as far as you let them, and treat you exactly how you permit them to. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about teaching others how to treat you. When you fail to establish clear limits, you unknowingly send the message that your time, energy, and emotions are up for negotiation. But when you master the ability to set and enforce boundaries, you silently command respect. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear rejection. They worry that saying no will make them appear selfish or unkind. They believe that accommodating others, even at their own expense, is the key to being liked. But the truth is, constantly sacrificing yourself for the comfort of others does not earn you respect. It only makes you easy to take for granted. People respect those who respect themselves, and self-respect starts with knowing where to draw the line. Setting boundaries is not about being aggressive or rude. It is about being clear. It means understanding what you are willing to accept and what you are not. It means knowing when to walk away from toxic situations and refusing to engage in relationships that drain your energy. It is about valuing yourself enough to protect your peace, even if it makes others uncomfortable. One of the first steps in mastering boundaries is recognizing your worth. When you truly value yourself, you do not feel guilty for prioritizing your needs. You understand that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. Just as you would not let someone take your last breath of air, you should not allow them to deplete your emotional or mental resources. The more you respect your own boundaries, the more others will follow your lead. A person without boundaries is like an open book that anyone can write in, erase, or tear pages from. When you allow others to dictate your time, your decisions, or your emotions, you give away control over your own life. But when you establish firm boundaries, you take back that control. You become the author of your own story, choosing who gets access to your energy and who does not. Many people struggle with guilt when they begin to set boundaries. They feel bad for saying no, for declining invitations, or for distancing themselves from those who do not respect them. But understand this: people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, while those who only seek to benefit from you will resist them. The ones who become angry or offended when you enforce limits were the ones who benefited from you not having any. Boundaries apply to all areas of life: relationships, friendships, work, and even family. In relationships, setting boundaries means refusing to accept disrespect, manipulation, or emotional neglect. It means knowing your standards and not lowering them for the sake of keeping someone around. Love without boundaries is not love. It is self-betrayal. True love respects individuality and does not demand constant sacrifice. In friendships, boundaries are essential for maintaining mutual respect. If a friend only reaches out when they need something but disappears when you need support, that is a one-sided relationship. A true friendship respects time, effort, and energy. When you set boundaries with friends, you teach them that you are not available for one-sided interactions, and those who truly value you will adjust. Boundaries determine how people treat you professionally. If you constantly take on extra work without recognition, allow colleagues to interrupt your personal time, or tolerate disrespect from supervisors, you are setting a precedent that you are willing to be undervalued. Standing firm in your boundaries at work ensures that you are treated with professionalism and respect, rather than as someone who can be taken advantage of. Boundaries with family can often be the most difficult to enforce because the fear of disappointing loved ones is deeply ingrained. But even with family, limits are necessary. You have the right to say no to conversations that make you uncomfortable, to reject obligations that drain you, and to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Family should not be an exception to your self-respect. Mastering boundaries is also about consistency. You cannot set a limit one day and allow it to be crossed the next. People test boundaries to see if they are real, and when you stand firm, you send a clear message that you take yourself seriously. Every time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce your self-worth. When you establish and maintain boundaries, something incredible happens. You begin to attract people who truly respect you. Those who only sought to take advantage will fade away, but those who genuinely value and appreciate you will stay. Boundaries filter out those who do not deserve your time and energy, leaving only relationships that are built on mutual respect. You do not need to explain or justify your boundaries. You do not owe anyone an apology for protecting your peace. Those who belong in your life will respect your limits, and those who do not will reveal themselves through their resistance. The key is to remain firm, knowing that setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It is about ensuring that those who stay in your life truly deserve to be there. Your energy is your most valuable asset, and where you direct it shapes your life. Many people waste their energy on things that do not serve them, overanalyzing the past, worrying about the future, engaging in meaningless arguments, or trying to change people who do not want to change. But when you learn to master the art of selective focus, you transform your life. You begin to invest your time, thoughts and emotions into things that truly matter, and in doing so, you become more powerful than ever. Most people do not realize how much energy they give away. They allow themselves to be consumed by negativity, whether it is through toxic relationships, unnecessary conflicts, or self-doubt. They react to everything, feeling the need to address every criticism, explain themselves to people who will never understand them, and involve themselves in situations that drain them. But true strength comes from learning that not everything deserves a reaction. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every situation needs your input. When you stop wasting energy on things beyond your control, you gain clarity. You begin to see how much of your exhaustion was caused by trying to fix things that were never your responsibility. You realize that you do not have to engage in arguments to prove a point, that you do not have to please everyone to be valued, and that you do not have to carry burdens that were never meant for you. This realization is liberating. It frees you from the endless cycle of stress and allows you to focus on what truly matters. One of the biggest ways people waste their energy is by trying to change others. They invest time and effort into convincing people to treat them better, into fixing relationships that are fundamentally broken, or into making someone see their worth. But here is the truth. People do not change unless they want to. No amount of effort on your part will change someone who does not see a problem with their behavior. The more you try to fix someone, the more energy you drain from yourself. Instead of focusing on changing others, focus on yourself. Set standards for how you deserve to be treated, and if someone does not meet them, walk away. That is how you protect your energy. Another common energy drain is worrying about things that are beyond your control. Many people spend their days overthinking. What if this happens? What if they say this? What if I fail? They play out worst-case scenarios in their minds, exhausting themselves with fears that may never come true. But worrying does not change the future. It only steals your peace in the present. When you learn to let go of what you cannot control and focus only on what you can, you take back your power. Protecting your energy also means being mindful of the people you surround yourself with. Some people uplift you, inspire you, and bring peace into your life. Others drain you, fill you with doubt, and leave you feeling exhausted. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. If their presence consistently leaves you drained, it is a sign that they are not meant to be in your space. You do not owe anyone access to your energy. You have the right to distance yourself from people who disrupt your peace. Your environment plays a significant role in your energy levels as well. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, whether it is through social media, news, or toxic conversations, you will absorb that energy. Be intentional about what you consume. Surround yourself with positive influences, inspiring content, and conversations that help you grow. What you feed your mind directly affects how you feel. Setting boundaries is one of the most effective ways to protect your energy. Learn to say no without guilt. You do not have to attend every event, answer every call, or be available to everyone at all times. Your time and energy are valuable, and you have the right to use them as you see fit. People who truly respect you will understand this. Those who get offended by your boundaries were the ones benefiting from your lack of them. It is also important to invest in activities that replenish your energy. Self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Whether it is through exercise, meditation, reading, or simply spending time, make sure to prioritize activities that restore your peace. When you take care of yourself, you are better equipped to handle life's challenges. At the core of protecting your energy is self-awareness. Pay attention to where your energy goes. Notice what drains you and what fuels you. The more mindful you become of your energy, the more control you have over your life. Instead of being reactive, you become intentional. Instead of being exhausted by things that do not matter, you are energized by things that do. Your energy is finite. You only have so much to give each day. Spend it wisely. Give it to the things that bring you joy, to the goals that inspire you, to the relationships that nourish you. Do not waste it on things that steal your peace. Because the moment you take control of your energy, you take control of your life. Silence is a powerful tool. In a world where everyone is eager to speak, to explain, to justify, and to prove themselves, the ability to stay silent speaks volumes. Most people believe that words are the key to influence, but in reality, silence often holds more weight. When you learn to master the art of being silent, you gain control over your emotions, your presence, and how people perceive you. Silence can make people respect you, wonder about you, and even fear losing you. It is not about being passive. It is about choosing when to speak and when to let your silence say everything. One of the greatest strengths of silence is that it forces others to think. When you do not immediately react to a situation, you give yourself time to process and respond wisely rather than impulsively. Many people make the mistake of speaking out of frustration, anger, or desperation, only to regret their words later. But when you practice silence, you create space for clarity. You allow yourself to observe, to understand, and to choose your words carefully. This makes you appear composed and in control, which naturally commands respect. Silence also has the ability to shift power in conversations. When you are in a discussion, especially in a disagreement, silence can make the other person reveal more than they intended. People are uncomfortable with silence, and in their need to fill it, they often expose their true thoughts. By simply listening and observing, you can gain valuable insight into their intentions, weaknesses, and insecurities. This is why the most powerful people in the world speak less and listen more. They understand that silence is a weapon that can be used to their advantage. Another way silence makes people value you is by creating a sense of mystery. When you do not constantly explain yourself, share every detail of your life, or seek validation through words, you become intriguing. People are naturally drawn to those they cannot fully figure out. They wonder what you are thinking, what you are feeling, and what you will do next. This is a powerful position to be in because it makes people more attentive to you. When you do speak, your words carry more weight because they are rare and intentional. Silence is especially important in relationships. Many people believe that arguing, explaining, or proving a point will change someone's mind, but often the most impactful response is silence. When someone disrespects you, ignores you, or tries to manipulate you, the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. Silence communicates self-respect. It shows that you do not need to beg for attention, explain your worth, or engage in unnecessary drama. It sends the message that you are unbothered and that your energy is too valuable to waste on those who do not appreciate it. In situations where you are undervalued, silence can create a shift. When you stop explaining yourself, stop chasing people, and stop reacting emotionally, people begin to notice your absence. They start to wonder why you are no longer engaging, and they realize the value you brought to their life. Sometimes walking away silently is more powerful than 1,000 words. It forces people to reflect on their actions and recognize what they lost. Silence is also a form of self-discipline. Many people speak out of habit, filling the air with unnecessary words just to feel heard. But when you practice silence, you develop control over your impulses. You learn to sit with your thoughts, to observe your emotions without acting on them immediately. This level of self-control is rare, and it is one of the key traits of truly powerful individuals. Another important aspect of silence is knowing when to withhold information. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, or your emotions. When you share too much, you give people the opportunity to manipulate you, to use your words against you, or to diminish your dreams. But when you keep certain things to yourself, you maintain control over your life. Speak only when necessary, and when you do, make sure your words are meaningful. In professional settings, silence can be a tool for gaining respect. Many people believe that speaking more makes them appear knowledgeable, but often the opposite is true. Those who listen more and speak only when necessary are perceived as more intelligent and authoritative. When you do not rush to fill silence with unnecessary words, people assume that when you do speak, it is because you have something valuable to say. This naturally makes them pay more attention to you. Mastering silence also teaches you the power of observation. When you are not constantly speaking, you have the ability to truly see people for who they are. You notice body language, tone of voice, and unspoken emotions. You become more aware of the dynamics in a room, of the way people interact, and of what is not being said. This awareness gives you an advantage because it allows you to navigate situations with intelligence and precision. Silence is not about being weak or passive. It is about being intentional. It is about knowing when to speak and when to let your presence do the talking. It is about valuing your energy and not wasting words on those who do not deserve them. When you master the art of silence, people begin to see you differently. They respect you more, they value your words more, and they become more mindful of how they treat you. Not everything requires a response. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every argument needs your participation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply say nothing, because silence is not empty, it is full of meaning. It is a statement of self-respect, a tool for control, and a force that, when used wisely, makes people value you in ways that words never could. The way you carry yourself, the silent actions you take, and the energy you protect determine how people perceive and value you. True respect is not demanded with words. It is earned through presence, self-discipline, and unwavering self-respect. When you set boundaries, protect your energy, and master the art of silence, you naturally command admiration without having to chase it. You show the world that you do not seek validation because you already know your worth. The moment you stop explaining yourself, proving yourself, and engaging in things that drain you, you become powerful. You no longer seek to convince others of your value because you embody it in everything you do. People are drawn to confidence, to mystery, to those who carry themselves with quiet strength. When you learn to let your actions speak louder than your words, you will notice a shift. People will respect you more, value you more, and treat you differently. It is not about how loud you are, how much you explain yourself, or how hard you try to make people see your worth. It is about standing firm in who you are, knowing when to walk away, and understanding that those who truly recognize your value will never need to be convinced. When you master these silent actions, you do not just gain respect, you gain control over your life. And that is the most powerful thing of all.